We have confidence in the victory of good over evil. Fight the real enemy.
Let's start here in April of 2005. Cardinal Ratzinger was installed as Pope. Now, he was formerly the Archbishop of Munich, and for years he was the Vatican's top enforcer of doctrine and law and prosecution of alleged pedophile priests. Now, slide forward, 8 months later, December 2005, because of his elevation to Pope, a federal judge rules he cannot be named in a Texas lawsuit that alleged he had a role in his prior position as Pope John Paul's chief law enforcer in covering up the molestation of 3 boys by a seminarian. Now, during his first visit to the United States in April of 2008, he says he was deeply ashamed of the sex scandal and pledges, and I quote, not to allow pedophiles to become priests. Then, November of last year, a report in Ireland accuses former archbishops, 4 of them, of turning a blind eye to abuse. Now we flash forward to this month, March 12th. Pope Benedict is linked to the clergy scandal in Germany. The allegation is that while he was Archbishop of Munich, he approved the transfer of a molesting priest so he could get therapy, but the priest went on to molest more kids. Now, a subordinate later took responsibility for returning that priest to duty. The Vatican spokesman claims, well, that essentially absolves the Pope. The Pope has not addressed what he knew and what he did or did not do. Now we go to March 20th. The Pope writes a pastoral letter apologizing to Irish victims of pedophile priests. And just 2 days ago, March 24th, the Pope is accused of failing to defrock Father Lawrence Murphy, who allegedly molested as many as 200 deaf boys in Wisconsin during the 1960s and 70s. A religious trial, which Benedict would have had the ultimate jurisdiction over back in 1996, was halted, get this, after Father Murphy wrote him a letter saying that he was in poor health and had already repented. So again, the National Catholic Reporter newspaper saying, and I quote, nothing less than a full, personal, and public accounting will begin to address the crisis that is now engulfing the worldwide church.
It's here, at Berlin's Canisius College, an elite Jesuit school, where the first allegations of sexual abuse were made public. This is one of the men who broke the scandal. Thomas was only 13 years old when he was subjected to sexual abuse. It took him 30 years to muster the courage to talk about it and to accuse 2 of his former teachers, both priests. After Thomas, hundreds of other victims spoke up.
The real scandal, which I only discovered later, is that one of the offenders was allowed to continue to abuse again and again for another 30 years in a dozen towns and schools, and even across the other side of the world in South America. He could continue offending without any of the other brothers or any of his superiors higher up in the Catholic Church putting a stop to it.
Over the last few weeks, not a day has passed without fresh allegations against more Catholic schools. The scandal quickly spread to Hamburg, Bonn and Munich. There are now allegations of abuse in 20 of the 27 dioceses in Germany, and the victims number in their hundreds. The Justice Minister here accused the Vatican of obstructing investigations into the alleged abuse in the schools. She believes the Vatican built up a wall of silence, citing a directive from 2001 which says the most severe abuse cases should be subject to papal secrecy. That missive was written by Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the former prefect of the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, now Pope Benedict XVI.
The Justice Minister's comments also angered the chairman of the German Conference of Bishops, who denied the accusations. Some of the cases occurred 30 or 40 years ago, but I believe that this isn't just about the Catholic Church. It's a problem in society at large. Some things couldn't be spoken about. They were taboo.
Was the German Catholic Church part of a cover-up, keeping quiet about the years of sexual abuse? That's what one lawyer believes. She's defending a group of victims in Berlin.
It's clear from this directive that the Church wants to sort out its own issues and avoid an official investigation. The Church adheres to its own laws. No consideration has been given to the victims. The Church is protecting the offenders, and that speaks volumes.
The German Catholic Church has publicly apologized to the victims and agreed to take part in a roundtable discussion hosted by the government. What Thomas wants is to see the Church compensate the victims and break the law of silence.
We have confidence in the victory of good over evil. Fight the real enemy.